Minister, you had, as the leader of the government, at least a minimum of 2 years of notice on the grounds of a potential grey listing. The Prime Minister and his government effectively didn't address it properly.
Member for Sinesine Yogomul Hon.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this country's concern is that this government is mishandling so many important issues. We here in opposition don't know where to begin asking the questions on all those important things. One of them is the grey listing recently of our country. It's done irreparable damage to our international image apart from domestic, which we're getting used to anyway. I want to ask a number of questions concerning that to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, you had, as the leader of the government, at least a minimum of 2 years of notice on the grounds of a potential grey listing. 2 years notice. And Mr. Speaker, Prime Minister and his government effectively didn't address it properly. So after so many warnings over a period of 2 years, we got grey listed. Number one question, can the Prime Minister now admit to the nation that he has failed the nation in avoiding the grey listing after having more than enough notice? That's number one. Number two, this has now become a matter of public concern. It's affecting every citizen, every corporation, every entity in this country now. It's no longer a private matter for the central bank or the government departments, nor the cabinet. We are all impacted by this grey listing. Can the minister now publicly in the newspaper set out every single ground upon which the grey listing happened? Every single ground should be listed. So we all know as a nation what those grounds are. How did we end up there? Now this question, number two, is important to the next question, number three, which is this. Having set out those grounds, can he also in that same public notice set out his action plan? What are going to be the Prime Minister's corrective action to each and every one of those grounds? We need to know, because it's no longer an internal management issue for the government and its bankers, etc. anymore. It's now touching the ordinary Papua New Guineans. So we need to know how he plans to remove us from this grey listing. What are going to be his action plan in respect of each and every one of those grounds? Number three, what is the timetable for each and every one of those actions? By what time is he going to satisfy those international organizations responsible for the grey listing that adequate corrective actions have been taken, enough to eliminate that ground one by one until the last one is eliminated? So what is the timetable for each one of those grounds? Number five, Deputy Speaker, sorry. Can he also, in the same process and in that same notice, outline all the negative impacts on the affairs of this nation by the grey listing? In what areas of governance, of government, is there going to be an adverse negative impact? Take, for example, on Papua LNG, or on Wafi-Golpu, or on the state's credit ratings, which is usually prepared by international ratings agencies like Standard & Poor's, Moody's, all those international rating agencies. How is this grey listing going to impact in their opinion, and that will affect our credit ratings and our ability to borrow money in the future? What is going to be the negative impact on the Kina, which has been going through a series of devaluation and hasn't finished yet, continuing to spiral downwards? What is going to be the impact of this grey listing on the Kina when it's already been going down for other causes, but now coupled with the grey listing, what additional negative impact will there be on the purchasing power of the Kina? Finally, number 6, all of these are serious enough to demonstrate, and can he admit, therefore, that this sort of thing is evidence of the government's incompetence in managing the affairs of this nation? Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honorable Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I want to appreciate the questions by member for Sinesine Yogomul. It's an important and pertinent question in one of the major issues that is facing our country right now. But before I do that, let me also congratulate the Honorable James Lomane and the Honorable Kid Idu for their ascension into leadership on the other side of the House as the opposition leader and deputy opposition leader respectfully. Again, it just shows that the opposition is mature in nurturing the next generation leadership and not holding on to leadership on the other side. So I want to commend the ascension of our two brothers into leadership on the other side, and we don't mind questions of scrutiny from the other side. That is the reason why the Parliament exists, and questions like this is appropriate for us to make response and to inform our country appropriately. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this is not the first time our country has gone into grey listing. The last we got out of grey listing was 2015 or 2016, thereabouts. If you place your mind on the years 2015 or 2016, we had just come out of the commissioning of the production of PNG LNG. For a greater part of last decade, was reduced down to around 15 matters that were found to be outstanding. That put us into a grey list. It wasn't PNG alone. We were partnered with Kuwait. And in this time around in the assessment in Mexico, Papua New Guinea and Kuwait were placed into the grey list. Grey list is a basket of, it's saying that you have some outstanding issues, you work, you come out of it, you don't work, and there's a possibility of us moving into the blacklist. And so I want to give assurance to our country, those 15 or so issues that are outstanding are achievable. Big amongst them requires all agencies of state to be at work. And I have issued written and verbal meeting instructions across, for instance, to police. My instruction to police, you don't need to wait for something to happen. You could pick up payment disbursements in finance right away. Go through the list and prosecute money launderers. A big issue that is facing our country right now is the issue on money laundering. I have to be honest up front. They have indicated as on the two twin concerns on PATAF. One is financing terrorism, and second is money laundering. There's an established view that we're not doing enough to fight money laundering, and this has been inherent over many, many years. This was an issue of concern as we got out of grey list in 2015, and it remains an issue. And for me, I welcome this assessment. Also, you staff, you're not smelling wrongly yet. If not, Lamantok, this is something that needs to be fixed. We must fix for economy going forward. So I want to give assurance to the good member of Sinesine. Issues have now been reduced to under 15. About 7 or 8 main core issues. One of them is the issuance of money laundering, the fact that police is quite slow in prosecuting those grey accounts. Those grey accounts that is labeled as accounts that possibly money laundering accounts in our country. I've given instructions to police, and in that meeting we all held together as a police commissioner. You don't need me to tell you to do your job, that's your constitutional duty. Work with FASU, work with central bank, and if there are any grey areas that needs to be looked into, especially suspicious transactions in our banking system, then put a stop and prosecute. I hope the police commissioner and those responsible are listening into this afference. They are at work, and I want to give assurance. For instance, police has now grounded over 215 million kina belonging to people of Western Province that is held in the trust account of one law firm in our country. So this sort of work is happening. This predates many, many years of a seemingly network of money laundering in our country that needs to be stopped. And I want to give assurance to our people that this grey listing is good. As I work, and this government work to grow the economy, it is of no avail if the economy is grown and people who profit from sharpening of public funds are still in existence in our economy. So this is a reminder for us to really tighten the game in respect to stopping money laundering in the economy. I've invited the police and Auditor General and everybody else to look into what's happening in finance, planning and treasury. The need be follow the money trail. This morning also, for instance, I wrote a letter to the police commissioner in the case of Paraka. Follow the money trail. Enough Lobiani paper trail, that's all. Look at my account. Money, he transferred from account to account, but none of hide. So follow the money trail. I think big need, Mr. Deputy Speaker, through you and through the question. And I will get, he asked me to put publicly the issues that are noted as outstanding. That's a good request. I thought the treasurer would have done it by now. If it's not happened, then we'll get a paid advertisement on the core issues they feel is outstanding for us to address. But as I said, key amongst them is the issue of money laundering. And instruction has gone to police, central bank, FASU, pursue those suspicious transactions, suspicious accounts, and they predates not just the Marape Pangu government's time, but right through the better part of the last 2 decades. And police will be at work to follow money trails, and once evidence of prosecution or prosecuting money laundering in our country does take place, then this will form the basis of us being reassessed in a better light. And for me, as I said earlier, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I welcome this because it gives us an opportune time to close in the gaps through money laundering amidst us. And I want to say that is your third question, Mr. Member for Sinesine. So the timetable, we have about 2 years to fix this, but I've issued instruction to all government agencies. While 2 years is a time we must fix to get out or thereabouts, it is in our own interest to do so within 12 months, and our team are at work as we speak through this one. If I could ask, one of his questions was, what are the negative impacts? We lived through this in 2014, 15, 16, thereabouts. We've got out of grey list. In all our major investors, they understand the PNG work environment. And so it does not affect Papua LNG in a big way, or Wafi Golpu, all our major foreign direct investment projects we have hanging to be processed are all okay. They understand exactly what we are doing. It will certainly cause a little bit of tight grip in your ID when you do bank transactions in our country, but it's about time we all are identified well as we do bank transactions in our country. We are managing the effect of this very closely. We are also managing monitoring the effect of the oil crisis that is happening as a result of war. So all in all, our Treasury and our National Security Advisory Team have been put on notice to look at the grey listing effect as well as the other effect as not to burden our businessmen and businesswomen and every legitimate transactors of our economy. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I want to ask if the good member could put his questions again in formal writing to me. I've lost some of the issues that he's raised, but we will make a concerted effort either through the Treasurer or myself later in this sitting of Parliament on the grey listing as a standalone response for the benefit of all of us in this House and for the country. Thank you too much.
Your point of order, the honourable member.
My question was the publication of the grounds, the action plan, and the timetable. Publication, because now it reached the point where we need transparency in this whole episode. So I need a clearer commitment from the Prime Minister that he's going to direct somebody to publish in the newspaper so that the people know, and they will help the Prime Minister and his government to hold those departments to task.
Honourable member, your point of order is in order, but I think the Prime Minister answered and make it clear that he will direct people to publish this in paper. And he asked that your questions be put in paper to him so he can follow your questions to put publication in regard to the questions you've asked for.